think at least 2 or 3, if I remember correctly. One, so we need about 9,500 square feet. The building, I don't remember off the top of my head the current size. The police had an estimate of their space needs. It wasn't a match. There wasn't enough space to do both there. And how the property is divided, you have the Legion to the north, which really, I think they own the parking lot to the north of the building, if I remember correctly. And to the south, you have the next building has a parking lot, and there was concern about space because the bike trail backs up to that. So to get a depth of a building to put garages in that we need, I think we felt there was going to be some site challenges there to actually build that out.
Was an estimate ever done on what that would cost?
No. I also know that on Wilson there was, trucks back in and out, and we have, it's always a traffic safety concern to be having emergency equipment come and go on busy streets is another big concern we run into.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, I'll sit down.
Okay, now we move to item 5 on the agenda, citizens to be heard. This item is for matters not on this evening's agenda. Discussion may follow comments on non-agenda items or discussion and action may come at future meetings. Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on non-agenda items?
My name is Rod Dow, 4314 North Stoll Avenue. On election night at the Red Cloud, I was surprised to learn that I was the main subject of discussion at the April 2nd village board meeting. On April 2nd, Trustee Amenta asked to change the minutes of the March 19 village board meeting to state how long I spoke as a citizen to be heard. I reviewed the videos of both of those meetings, and I'm here to correct the record and the disinformation and to address concerns from the April 2nd discussion. Trustee Amenta wanted to add to the minutes of the prior meeting that I spoke for 23 minutes. Later, she changed her request to substitute lengthy, and at one point she said I took 25 minutes. According to the video, which I reviewed, the actual time that I had the floor was 19 minutes and 35 seconds, not 23 or 25. And this time was spread over 4 distinct topics. 3 minutes on the first, 5.5 minutes on the second, 7.5 on the third, and 3.5 on the last. Amenta ignored that I had 4 topics on March 19th. Certainly, 4 topics take longer to cover than 1. Ironically, Trustee Amenta also ignored that she interrupted me twice on March 19th, adding to the necessary time that I took. In point of fact, Trustee Amenta's request on April 2nd to change the minutes of the prior meeting wasted 17 minutes of time, almost as long as I took to cover 4 subjects at the prior meeting. Trustee Amenta disrespected me as a citizen to be heard in multiple ways. Her 2 interruptions on March 19 were attempts to make me not heard instead of being heard, and to disrupt my comments. She further disrespected me when she did not take the time to review the video, and then incorrectly described and misled about my comments. During her comments, Trustee Amenta specifically said on April 2nd, quote, "I can't remember too much of what he spoke about," close quote, which is, to me, the ultimate display of disrespect. Apparently, she was more interested in her watch or her phone than in listening. When I came before you on March 19, I worked literally all weekend on my remarks. I hope that would have been apparent from the content of the presentation that I gave. I did that to express my comments as clearly and as simply as possible and to reduce them to the minimum possible time. President Johnson can confirm that, as I spoke to him over the weekend about my plans in general terms, and he admonished me to keep it as short as possible. I did that work over the weekend before the meeting out of respect for your time. And I think most citizens who come here to be heard before the board reasonably expect the same kind of respect from the trustees. So now I'd like to shift away from Trustee Amenta and myself and turn briefly to the policy of possibly limiting citizens to be heard. At the April 2nd meeting, the subject of prescribed time limits on citizens to be heard was suggested as an item for future consideration by the board. This is a very bad idea. Citizens to be heard is there for citizens to be heard on whatever is on their minds. When the citizen stands up to be heard, no one on the board knows the subject matter that the citizen will address, and that's reason enough not to impose an arbitrary time limit in advance. Witness the varying times that I took with my 4 different subjects on March 19th. Citizens to be heard is typically used to complain about something or to ask the village board to do something different from what they are or have been doing. It is, by definition, a time for criticism of the village board. To shut that down or curtail it arbitrarily contradicts its very purpose. I served many years as a trustee. We never set arbitrary limits on citizens to be heard. Now, we did set them on focused public hearings, such as the budget, or the library, or the Edgewood townhouses, or other specific topics, where many speakers with similar views were expected, but never, for the general agenda item that was and is open-ended. My view, and that of every trustee with whom I served, was that this agenda item, citizens to be heard, was the citizens' time, and that the trustees were there to take it, to listen. Trustees serve the citizens, not the other way around. To me, the notion of setting time limits on citizens to be heard is anathema, and it should be anathema to the village board as well. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to be heard on non-agenda items? Yes.
I would just like to say that I've had contact and worked, sometimes even so briefly, with each of the trustees here. You're all different, you all have special gifts, and I appreciate your special gifts and everyone here, okay? So I just want to thank you for your service, all of you, and know that we appreciate you in the community. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to be heard on citizens to be heard items? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda.
Actually, I had an email from a resident that I asked if she would like me to read it to the full board, and I'm not sure when that would occur. If that would be under citizens to be heard, or if that would occur later on. And I'm fine with whichever spot it is, but
Does it correlate to a specific agenda?
it does not.
Can't you just forward the email to us?
Yeah, forward.
You all have the email. It was for the edification of other individuals who might wish to.
Or the public record, it's forwarded.
I understand that, and I had told her that I would read it to the full board since she was unable to at the time of the board meeting. But if I can, you all have the email. And the contents of the email were, I guess, I don't want to misquote, So I will try to, and I'll try to be as succinct as possible, but basically she was asking us as elected leaders in this village to set the example online and in our behavior as far as how we treat each other. And she was touching on that this is a small municipality and that there's a lot of unnecessary rancor and a lot of unnecessary division that's occurring. And that she's asking us as elected officials to take the lead here. And so again, I'm not doing this justice.
As long as you kind of paraphrase it, who is the individual who put in the record here?
Okay, we all have the email, as you said, and it's in the public record. And my hesitation
Okay.
right now is to mention her name because of a lot of acrimonious and quite vile online behavior that some people, when they say things about what's going on. So anyway, I would read it. I don't want to paraphrase incorrectly and give her name to my thoughts, but you all do have this email. I know she sent it to every single trustee here. So it is part of the public record. So hopefully if anyone else who's interested in it would like to hear her words versus my slightly pithy paraphrasing.
Thank you. Okay. With that, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is proclamation for Arbor Day.
Yay.
And I shall read it. It's nice and short. Whereas the village of Shorewood enjoys the reputation of beautiful tree-lined streets and wood parks, and whereas trees are important to our environment by reducing soil erosion, moderating temperature, cleaning the air, producing oxygen, and providing wildlife habitat, and whereas the residents of the village of Shorewood have demonstrated a significant interest in the conservation and preservation of rare and historic trees, and whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper and wood for homes, fuel for fire, and countless other wood products, and whereas the village of Shorewood has been designated as a Tree City, USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation, now therefore I, Guy Johnson, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 27, 2018, as Arbor Day in Shorewood.
Thank you, and I'm glad we have a soon-to-be school board member and our director of public works here. I know I've mentioned it at least once in the past in this room, but there is a state statute, somewhat arcane. It's statute 118.025 Arbor Day observance, which says, and I'll read it because it's very brief, the principal of a public, private, or tribal school may request one free tree provided from the state nursery by the Department of Natural Resources under statute 2806 for each fourth grade pupil in the school for planting in conjunction with an annual observance and celebration of Arbor Day. My point is, I brought this up to the school board in the past, and we always seem to forget about it. But
Is this one tree per
one tree per fourth grade student from the state nursery.
All right.
State statute 118.025. And I would hope that we could get some partnership, we talk about working together, some partnership with the school to both celebrate Arbor Day with the kids, get some free trees, and get this, save some money on Wilson Drive.
Love those trees.
Why can't we, and I'm sure the trees we get in the state nursery are like this, so we're not gonna replace all the Wilson Drive trees. And, but in all seriousness, I would hope that our school board, our Department of Public Works, and the board here can find a way to do something.
Oh,
Because
Leanne.
I think it's an interesting approach. I would like to also mention though that the men's club in Shorewood, every year on Arbor Day, does donate a kind of full-size tree, a real tree. And there's a celebration, and typically it's the principal of the middle school that comes with, typically, I've been to a number of these, maybe about 20 students, and they come and actually plant the tree and put the dirt in the ground and all that kind of stuff too. So,
118.025.
This year, that Arbor Day celebration is on Friday, the 27th at 1 o'clock at River Park.
Do you want to get my address and my name again?
Sure.
Okay, Jennifer Klingvold, that's 4331 North Alpine Avenue. I'm a board member of the Friends of Estabrook Park, and we plant trees all summer long. So if you need a place to plant your trees, please contact the Friends of Estabrook Park, Harold Schmidt. He's the head of the Friends group, and they would love to be able to work with fourth graders or any kind of graders to plant trees. We do it every year, so just throwing that out.
Thank you. Yes.
Elizabeth Witt, 4456 Ardmore. As far as I know, Henry on the Conservation Committee is working with Lake Bluff fourth graders to send them home with trees and also plant some in Estabrook Park this year. So this is kind of already happening, a village. So there is a coordinated effort between the schools and the village right now.
Sounds like we got half the fourth graders covered. Let's get further out.